Today, I'm going to be showing you the full step-by-step process of this painting. Hello friends, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm going to be taking you through the whole process of how I made this painting. I will be working on Arches hot press watercolor paper. I'm starting out with this sketch that I've done with a dark colored pencil. I wanted to keep the pose of the mother very dynamic. I didn't really have a baby at hand, so I kind of had to improvise. I used a ruler to make sure that all my lines were straight. I am going for a detailed border with this painting as well. Lately, I've really been loving that intricate borders that old storybooks have. And that's something I wanted to do with this painting as well. I wanted to tell a story, not just in the main picture, but also all around the picture. On the tops and bottoms of the painting, I wanted to put little pomegranates growing on a branch. I wanted this to be a symbol of fruitfulness. Once my sketch is completed, I go ahead and cover the whole thing with a wash of water. I will be using the wet on wet technique for the first initial color. Usually I cover my whole painting with a wash of yellow to keep it warm, but since this painting is going to be set in the evening, I mixed up a dark blue/purple and I made sure to cover the entire painting with this color. Now, the reason I wanted to set this painting in the night was because I wanted to convey a message. I have met so many women who have struggled with infertility and loss, women who've spent years just praying and asking God for a miracle. So I wanted to paint this scene in the night to symbolize that feeling of darkness and hopelessness. But I didn't want to just leave it dark. I wanted to have that symbolism of light and hope in the darkness. So I made sure to put the moon in the painting to show that there is always hope because we serve a God of miracles. Ultimately, God has the final say, and we have this hope that whatever answer He gives us is given out of love. These are the colors I will be using to start building up the painting. I will be using this Viridian green, purple, and a bit of this reddish maroon brown. I try to just paint a few shades darker than my wash, building shadows where they need to go, not really focusing too much on adding many other colors yet. Once I put in all of my blue shadows, I go in with the main colors, so the brown for the hair, the red for the face. I start building up the main colors of the painting. Once I have my wash down, I like to add in some red colored pencil to saturate some parts of the face and hands. I render out some parts of her hair, add some more shadows and highlights where they need to go. This part is probably my absolute favorite. The next day it was so beautiful, I just had to go paint in the park. Sometimes I find changing the scenery really helps with the painting process. My husband and I just found a beautiful park and we settled in for a wonderful evening together. Napping, listening to the birds, and painting. Since I was painting outside, I wasn't able to bring too many tools with me, so I mostly focused on finishing this pomegranate border. One reason I recommend getting out of the studio to paint is that you'll never know what you might see or hear. I got to experience some live music during this painting session. Anyways, that was interesting. I mostly worked on fine details here, like some touches to the hair and the little baby. When we got home that evening, I continued to add on some details to the pomegranates, like some highlights and some green leaves. I used a burnt sienna color to add a wash of brown along the border. One thing I really like to do is turn my painting to the side so I can reach some hard to reach areas. So I painted around the border where she was as well. Something I add to all of my paintings is a little bit of gold. This was a gold watercolor palette and I added it kind of around where the pomegranates were to bring them out. In this step, I added in the wash of dark navy blue to make the night sky. I added in a few beautiful shining stars to symbolize the promise of God based on the story of Abraham. One of the reasons I love gouache is that it's really easy to make like a luminescent effect. I just take a wet brush and I rub the white dot around it, and it gives kind of like this glowing effect. To make the stars stand out a little bit more, I also added a line down a couple of them to make them look like they're extra shiny. Now, I did something kind of similar with the moon. It was a little trickier because it's larger, but I pretty much just lined the rim of the moon with white gouache, and I proceeded to blend that into the dark blue background. I really like how the sky turned out. I think it really captured what I was thinking of when I was wanting to capture the idea of hope and light in the darkness. To make the painting look more believable, I also added some highlights to the top of her hair to make it look like it was reflecting the moonlight, and also a little bit on the baby's fuzzy head. I wanted to put in a bit of color for the main picture, so I thought I would use my absolute favorite color, which is this shade of golden yellow. I made the whole blanket this happy color. I don't know, I just think the yellow and the dark blue just work so well together. I absolutely adore the way light purple looks with yellow, so I added in some purple shadows to bring out the yellow in the blanket. I added in some yellow on her sleeves as well to make it look like it was slightly reflecting off of the blanket. I added in some more fine details like hairs and the pattern on the blanket. On the corners of the painting, I also put in a few doves with long olive branches in their beaks. In the Bible, doves are a symbol of peace and promise, and they also symbolize and represent the Holy Spirit, who is described as our comforter. And I thought they looked beautiful just perching there on the frame of the painting. I had to use a few layers of white gouache to make them stand out. I then went around the painting and added in a few more details. I added in some fuzzies to the baby's head, and then I began working on the sides of the painting. I wanted to make it like a trellis with flowers growing on it. The idea of it was like a blooming, radiant garden of wildflowers just climbing on this trellis. A lot of that inspiration also came from the verse where Jesus talks about how he takes care of the wildflowers. In this verse, he talks about how the wildflowers are so finely dressed. Why should we worry about our lives? I wanted to incorporate that piece into this painting because I think it also symbolizes the promise of God and the goodness of God and his providence over us. The leaves were all starting to kind of blur together, so I outlined a few of the highlighted ones with a green colored pencil. And as a finishing touch, I added in some gold dots on the flowers. To fill in the extra spaces of the painting, I also added these little white swirls kind of in the empty spots of the picture to fill it in a little more. And that was that. I was done. So I just proceeded to remove the watercolor paper from the painting block. A huge shout out to Arches because this is the best paper I have ever used. I hope you enjoyed watching the process of this painting coming to life. If this painting resonated with you, I will have prints available as well as the original on my Etsy shop, linked in the description below. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day.